stuck in the desert for weeks. You are the source of all I need. Whether it's to the ends of the earth, I pray I'm fueled by your word. I'll get up off my knees and go where you call me.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Today we are going to be making a folk sounding and a folk style worship song, kind of like Josiah Queen. So let's hop into it. So I started by recording this acoustic guitar that sounds like this. Just super simple and straightforward, and I left it right down the center. Next, I added this pedal steel just to kind of give it that country folk flavor to it. So together they sound like this. That pedal steel is straight off of Splice. And then lastly, I layered it for this first part of the verse with this sample banjo. Again, just straight off of Splice. All of those sound like this. So then that brings us to kind of verse B, or the second part of the verse. So I brought in, with those three same elements, I brought in bass guitar, just using Logic's Studio Bass, run it through an amp, compressing. Next up, I used Keyscape this time. I added some piano. It sounds like this. I wanted a little bit thicker of kind of like a bed, even though we are still in the verse, because then we also started bringing in our drums. So two things are coming in here. We first started out with this Austin Davis kit, which I cannot say enough about this. It has a Logic instrument basically built within sampler, or you could use, like, there's a ton of one shots, there's a ton of loops. So I just used this kit and drew in some MIDI with some like 4 on the floor. Then later on, we'll add a little bit more. That sounds like this. Then we have this Perc loop that sounds like this. This adds a little bit more movement. And then we get to this very, very short pre-chorus that I think is only like 2 bars basically. And I just did this walk down on the bass guitar, did it on my acoustic as well, and then recorded it a second time and kind of add a lot of reverb, painted out wide, just to add some kind of flavor in there, so that this pre-chorus sounds like this. And then we get into the big chorus. Not quite talking about the vocals just yet. We have the same acoustic guitar, the same banjo, we have the same pedal steel, the piano, the bass. We did add this big Reese bass. It sounds like this. And with the other bass. I just thought I added so much more like sustained low end, whereas the bass kind of felt like it was maybe, which we might can look at this if we look at Pro Q3. The bass guitar felt like it was living here, which it is, in kind of like that 110 range. So then I boosted a lot of the Reese basses low end and took out some of that same range to try to make them mesh together. So I thought that helped a lot. Same piano, same pedal steel, same banjo. I added this vocal ad-lib thing that basically is just saying ooh, and then it has a ton of reverb on it, echo boy, really sustained, so it just kind of adds an extra bed or an extra layer, sound like a pad. I added this granular loop from Sweet Tooth that Make Pop pack as well, and added some tremolo to make it kind of bounce back and forth. I'll solo it so you can hear it. Then all of those synths together sound like this. So then I said we have our acoustic guitar. We also have these electric strums. It's just the chords of the chorus, nothing crazy. Double track, pan left and right. And then I printed them down onto one track. So that really is it for the synths. It's not, there's, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The electric's double tracked, so like 10 tracks. It's not really anything crazy going on. And then that brings us to our drums. So I'm going to solo those out for just a second. So we have that Austin Davis kit. We'll start with it. So I still kept the 4 on the floor pattern, but I noticed in these like folk Josiah Queen type of folk sounding songs that it does have 4 on the floor a lot, and then like a big snare hit. So I just kept a snare hit on the 4 beat of every one of these, and this is a cymbal, and otherwise like that's literally it. It's very, very, very basic drums. So this is what they sound like. I layered that with an extra snare from a country hits pack, and then there's a church clap that I got off of Splice, and then a stomp layer that I also got off Splice. So they'll add a little bit of extra punch here that you can hear. Then we just needed a little bit of extra rhythm and a little bit of extra just kind of movement. So I added a tambourine and a shaker loop. So those sound like this. Then I just added a swell and an impact. And so I thought that you kind of get this really big moment as it goes into the chorus. So drums all together sounds like this. And then with our synths too. Now let's get to some vocals. So we'll first start with the main vocal, and then we'll get to these backing layers that I have kind of sitting in this chorus. So main vocal, recorded the same way that I always do. I tuned it, and then I have EQ and compression, basically. That's what is happening. This is my regular vocal chain. I've gone over my Logic vocal chain with stock plugins that I try to emulate this, basically. So this is kind of like my regular vocal chain, normal stuff on the synths, nothing really crazy going on, so it sounds like this.
I've been trying to find my home in a world I don't belong. I've been trying to find some rest for my head.
In that verse, I kept it as one single vocal. I did add in this little ad-lib thing that I actually recorded it over here in the chorus, but I thought it kind of fit in this verse to add like a transitional element. So it comes in as these instruments come in like this.
Head. I've been looking all around.
So then in the pre-chorus, it kind of follows that walk down. It sounds like this.
Where you go, I'll go.
So then we get to the chorus. Now the way I wrote the chorus, and again, I wanted to emulate like a folk sounding song, it is very, very fast. I wanted to slow down the BPM, but I was like, you know what? No, this is kind of how those songs tend to be. So it sounds like this, and this is without any of those backing layers.
Whether it's in your agency, you're stuck in the desert for weeks, you are the source of all I need. Whether it's to the ends of the earth, I pray I'm fueled by your word. I'll get up off my knees and go where you call me.
All right, so there's our chorus. And then I did record, I'm gonna leave the vocoder out for right now, but I did record a duplicate, panned it, hard left, another duplicate, hard right, a harmony that is like 50% left and harmony 50% right. So then those add this to our chorus.
Whether it's in your agency, you're stuck in the desert for weeks, you are the source of all I need. Whether it's to the ends of the earth, I pray I'm fueled by your word. I'll get up off my knees and go where you call me.
And those backing vocals sound like that. I didn't do anything really with those except I tuned them. I did some EQ. I did some compression and de-essing. I de-ess really, really hard. Actually, not that hard. I could de-ess a little bit harder. And so this is really not anything that crazy, and I thought they sounded fine. I didn't even like timeline them with like vocal line or anything like that because I wanted it to feel kind of loose, almost like a crowd was, you know, shouting out the vocal and that sort of thing. So
whether it's in your agency, you're stuck in a desert for weeks, you are the source of all I need.
Our last layer is this vocoder. This is vocal synth 2. And what I did for it is really just kind of a preset that I have. So, like, these are the settings, and I've figured out, like, this is my favorite vocoder. And I thought, again, it just added some width and extra depth to those vocals. So it alone sounds like this.
Whether it's in rain and sleet, or stuck in the desert for weeks, you are source of all I need.
And then with the other vocals, this is kind of like our vocal stack all together.
Whether it's in a raging sea or stuck in the desert for weeks, you are the source of all I need.
And then as far as like bus processing goes and mastering what you've got, I did add some chroma glow to the synths, 70% mix, 50% drive. The guitars, I always had this MoTT setting, but it's only on 10%. It's extremely, extremely low. And then the drums, I've got Devil Lock Deluxe on there. I use Knock, a little bit of MoTT, very, very small, just EQ and a little bit of low end out of the sides, but I mean, like barely touching it. And then for my mastering, and I've talked about this before, but I like using Logic's mastering assistant. Comes up with an EQ curve that I never really put at 100%, but maybe around 70, add a little bit of loudness and a little bit of width, and then follow it up with a limiter, and I think you're set. So this is our final product.
Whether it's in a raging sea or stuck in the desert for weeks, you are the source of all I need. Whether it's to the ends of the earth, I pray I'm fueled by your word. I'll get up off my knees and go where you call me.
There you have it. That's it. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that this is helpful to you. If now you can make your own worship song in this folk style. So with that said, if you like the video, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. That would be a great way to support me. Also, I want to thank you for watching the video by taking that acoustic guitar loop that I recorded myself and processed it. And I'm giving that guitar loop away for free so that you could use it in your own folk style song, or really any type of song that you want to make. So there's a link to download that in the description below. And with that being said, see you next time.